The Centre for Military Research, Education and Public Engagement actually arose out of the War Poets Centre, and the idea behind it was that while this focused on the past, what we needed to do was to focus on the now and the future. Our centre has three aspects. The research is the key bit to what we do. The education bit is how we provide pathways and educational opportunities. The third part of the centre is the public engagement side, and the public engagement side is really about working with an outward face. So three key parts to the centre. Transition is the process by which people leave the armed forces to come out into what we would call civilian society and to get employed or to begin to work within that process.
Whilst I think there is no such thing as a sort of typical service leaver, we all come from a sort of common training process. The culture, whether you're Navy, Army or Air Force, is very similar within the armed forces, and sometimes there are perceptions of the military within the wider world, in particular in the employer field, that don't really understand the military. And I think working with the Transition Project, we're able to represent the veteran perspective and communicate that to the community in Scotland.
The Transition Project is one of the most important things that we can do right now, because everyone that leaves the armed forces has to go through transition, no matter who you are, what rank, how long you've served. But what we lack at the moment is the evidence base. Without that evidence base, we can hear stories, we can hear news reports that tend to paint a negative picture. But if we can get an accurate picture of what's happening on the ground, we can adapt the policies and actually implement services that will help all of the armed forces community for years to come.
The first steps for us were to recognise that actually the veterans we wanted to speak to were the younger veterans, the ones that left early, and to try and find out what that process was like for them and why they had left when they chose to leave. We know by 2028 that we will have in excess of 1.2 million veterans in Scotland, of which 50% of them will be of working age and will be redeployed into working environments in civilian society. And so it was really important for us to understand that process and how it worked.
Having the Military Research Centre here allows us to have greater impact in terms of looking at what is happening on the ground in Scotland for those individuals who choose to leave and stay in Scotland or indeed return to Scotland after their service.
Napier University was the first university to be awarded Gold Covenant status in Scotland. This recognises that the university value the input that the armed forces have to offer, and so from an employability point of view, we employ a high number of veterans. The centre now has 6 PhD students and 5 of those are veterans. And we've just taken on a research fellow who is a veteran. I'm really quite proud of that.
I've built a very close working relationship with members of the Napier community. So a lot of this is about the collaboration, the ability to talk to each other about the issues.
If anyone wants to get involved with Edinburgh Napier University and their Innovation Challenge, go ahead. They're one of the best organisations I've come across, friendly, approachable and very passionate about the work that they do.